Pull-ups are a fundamental bodyweight exercise, so it's important that you do them properly so that you get the most out of them. The first thing that you should learn is the difference between an active hang and a passive hang. And the difference between an active hang and a passive hang is very simple. With the passive hang, you don't have any muscles activated. You're just doing a dead hang. Just look like this. I'm just hanging without any muscle activation. So passive hangs are good for stretching, getting a good stretch on your lats, your pecs, opening up the shoulder area, and decompressing your spine. And I guess they can be used for working on your grip strength, seeing how long you can hang. With the active hang, your back muscles are activated, and you do this by bringing your shoulder blades together and down, which is retraction and depression. So, starting from the passive hang, bring your shoulder blades together and down. In the active hang, our elbows are completely locked out. So imagine doing shoulder shrugs, and you're doing a deep shoulder shrug, and you're holding them locked like that. You're actively holding your shoulders held together and down. So practice that by doing shoulder shrugs. Holding it there for a second, then coming back to a passive hang. And when we're doing this, we're looking up and we're aiming our chest towards the bar or towards the rings. We're not pulling it directly up. We're shrugging kind of back and out. So practice the movement by doing shoulder shrugs, and then practice holding the active hang for as long as you can. Just holding it there, and then coming back to passive hang, and holding it longer each time. We're also going to be using the active hang whenever we're doing ab exercises. So like if you're doing knee raises, you're starting from a passive hang, you get into your active hang, and you hold it while you're doing knee raises. So that's another reason why it's important to learn the active hang. So when doing pull-ups, we're trying to strengthen our back. So we want to put more of the focus in our back. So by doing the active hang, we're engaging more muscles, because more of the strength comes from our back muscles rather than our arm muscles. So it only makes sense to first activate our back muscles to help us with the pull-up. This next step is optional, but if you want, you can add a posterior pelvic tilt. This is where you tilt your pelvic backwards, like this. This is an anterior pelvic tilt. This is a posterior pelvic tilt. You're tilting your pelvic backwards, you're engaging your glutes, keeping them tight, and you're engaging your core. Your whole lower back and your abs are held tight, squeezed together real tight. You're keeping your legs together. This is adding an isometric hold that's going to work your core while you're doing pull-ups. So get into the active hang, and I tilt my pelvic back. It's kind of like I'm holding a low leg raise. And I prefer to do pull-ups on a bar high enough to where my feet can just hang. But if you can't, or for like instance right now, where my feet are touching the ground, then you can still add a posterior pelvic tilt and engage your core by tilting, by doing a tucked one. So this is just a passive hang, and I'll do an active hang. I'm not engaging my core right now, I'm just holding an active hang on my shoulders. Then I'll add a posterior pelvic tilt. So just holding that on its own is a core exercise. So practice holding that. And these are especially good for doing chin-ups. A chin-up is where you're doing a pull-up with your palms facing towards you. This is also known as supinated position. I'm keeping my core, keeping my abs held really tight the entire time. My feet are together. Doing a supinated grip position with your palms facing towards you, also known as a chin-up grip, is much easier because you're engaging your biceps. When your hands are forward in a pronated position, just a normal pull-up position, you can only engage them so much. But when I just turn my wrist inwards, my bicep naturally contracts and it gets much harder. And we can use that muscle to help pull us up. So doing pull-ups in a supinated grip, chin-up grip, is going to take some of the focus off of our back because we're using our biceps. So the primary purpose of doing pull-ups is to really work on our back and strengthen our back. So the best way to do this is just by doing a normal pronated grip position with your hands forward, about shoulder width apart, maybe slightly than shoulder width apart, but I never go too far out. I don't do really wide grip pull-ups. I feel like they can compromise your shoulders and that they don't really add enough of the benefit. The risk to reward ratio just isn't there for me. Also remember, when we're doing the active hang, our elbows are completely locked out and our thumbs are under the bar, under the rings, held tight. The only time I ever have my thumb over the bar when I do a pull-up with a wide grip is when I'm doing typewriter pull-ups. It's also important to do a full range of motion. All the way as high as you can, chest to bar, chest to rings, then all the way back down. Now some of you are probably wondering, do I do pull-ups all the way down to a passive hang and then reactivate? Or do you keep the active hang the whole time you're doing pull-ups? Well, you can do it either way. It's up to you. For the most of the time, I prefer to go all the way to a passive hang and then reactivate. I feel like this is working the joints more and we're building more of that joint integrity. So now that you know the difference between a passive and an active hang, you can practice your active hang by doing shoulder shrugs, by holding that active hang out. And to build the strength to do pull-ups, you can start by doing body rows. And I suggest getting a pair of these rings. You can get them on Amazon, they're really inexpensive. I use the wooden kind. You can hang them over a tree or any kind of post that you can find around, and you can get a full body workout. I'll leave a link for these in the description if you want to buy some. And these are good because you can manipulate the leverage really easily. So the higher you do the body row, the easier it's going to be. And the lower you get, the harder it's going to get. So find a position. It's going to look like this. And we're still going to do the active hang. We're still going to engage our back muscles. And then pull up. We're not just going to pull up with our arms like this. But rather we're going to activate our back muscles first. Pull up. And when you're doing the body rows, try to keep your wrists pointed forward the entire time, a pronated position. If you turn into a neutral grip or a supinated grip, chin-up grip, it's going to take some of the focus off of your back. But those are still great grips too. In fact, you should practice all 3 grips. So once you can do about, let's say 6 to 13 reps while keeping a clean form and a body row, start progressing, start getting lower and lower. So we'll go even further. Activate, pull up. You can even hold it here for a second. Come back down. Keep that time under tension. Come down nice and controlled. Don't just let gravity pull you back down. So you can practice body rows on rings, or you can practice them on a low bar, or you can even just find something, get creative. Like, let's see here. There's a wasp nest under there. Soccer fields. Awesome. All right. Keeping your core.